Wonderful, wonderful. So, um, bring me up to speed a little bit. It sounds like from what you wrote to me that, well, you just bring me up to speed.
All right. I've been on and off with this job for the past, I don't know how long. I'm just not a fan of going door to door,
Right.
but I don't know if that's my lack of sales ability and I'm not getting the results I want to be getting. I love the hours. I mean, I work anywhere from 15 to 20 hours a week,
Mm-hmm.
but when I don't work that, I get no results and then I get unmotivated.
Right. Right.
But as long as I put in 15 to 20 hours, I'm getting the results I want. But it's not instant gratification, I guess.
Sure. So with 15 to 20 hours a week,
Mhm.
would you be willing or interested in working on something on the side to build something more along the lines of what it is that you want to do? Or, I mean, if you were doing something that you were passionate about, would you be willing to work more hours a week?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is I just have like this giant gap of time that I'm not feeling. So it's just getting me unmotivated. But that's when the whole college thing is like popping into my mind, going
Mhm.
back and getting a business degree. I mean, in my mind, it can only help me out. It's not going to hinder me in any way possible. So when I don't have to pay out of pocket, the the VA is going to cover it. Um, it's going to teach me about. It's going to give me better finances, marketing, everything else to help me actually run a business.
Mhm.
Um, this job is good because I mean, when I actually do work it and work the hours, it easily pays for my lifestyle.
So, so what would your goal be after, let's assume you did go back to school and got a business degree? What would your goal be at that point?
Honestly, I'm hoping it just gives me enough time to actually figure out what I want to start my own business in.
Okay. So,
My number
so
one goal for
mhm.
the next 10 years is building up passive income so I can become a helicopter pilot and do that.
Mhm. So, so even going into, even going back to school,
Hmm.
I mean, what I'm hearing is that the big question that needs to be answered is, what is it that you really would find inspiring to do, motivating to do, um, that would again give you the lifestyle that you're looking for, um, but ultimately that would inspire you.
Hmm.
And even when you go to, if you decide to go back to school, um, having some idea of a target of where you want to go will mean that you have an enthusiasm for learning these, whatever you're going to be taught. And also your radar is picking up on the relevant information for what
Hmm.
you want to do. So it really makes a lot of sense to be honing in on what it is that you could be moving toward,
Okay.
right?
Yes,
And
that is the goal.
yeah, because otherwise
I'm just repeating the process.
you're repeating the process, and I mean, when you have a lack of motivation, it's because you're not gelling with any sort of sense of purpose, right? There's nothing that you're moving toward. So feeling progress is how we feel fulfillment and how we feel joy and how we navigate any sort of obstacles that are in our way. But if we don't have a target, how can we feel like we're making progress toward it?
Right.
Right. So, months ago when we did the map,
Mhm.
there were things so we had things on here, creating things and feeling appreciated, your passions, seeing the world, making a difference,
Yeah.
guns and explosives, being a pilot, being healthy, family time, traveling, adrenaline adventures, and helping charities, helping people, being outdoors, work-life balance, self-growth, and self-challenge. So it feels like, and even the last conversation that we had in September, you so far have not found something that gives you enough of a sense of purpose that it feels like you're getting that adrenaline, that excitement, feeling like you're alive.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it felt like this particular job, you're basically just not feeling it, right? There's no, it is a paycheck, but there's no enthusiasm for it.
Right.
And, for the record, I don't know many people who like going door to door,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, so it says nothing about your sales ability. It just, that's something that most people don't like. Most people don't even like cold calls. I mean,
Right.
sitting in their office and making a call, forget about having to walk around to someone's door.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's nothing wrong with you. There's no shortcoming or anything at the fact that you don't like that. And that's very different from the kind of adrenaline and adventure that you do like. Skills, you've got here that you have a sense of humor, you're good at handling people, creating websites, math, numbers, composure under stress, handling high pressure and high adventure, leadership, problem solving, organizational skills. I mean, what you're doing right now isn't tapping into any of these.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's no wonder that you're feeling unfulfilled. Your must-haves, it was, surround yourself with a great group of people, have a healthy family, have time off, be able to bring your dog to work. Okay, maybe you can do that, but in office, no more than 4 hours, home by 6 p.m. No more than 40 hours. There we go. That makes sense. Combo workout and MMA, travel, weeks off, 100K plus, eventually help people, surround yourself with a great group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's no wonder that you're feeling unfulfilled because you're not tapping into any of these yet. And it doesn't feel to you like you're making progress toward any of that, right? In what you're currently doing, other than maybe when you feel the need to get inspired to put the hours in, because I mean, basically sales is a numbers game.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, in some of the things that you wrote in the nice ifs, search and rescue pilot, help people feel appreciated and abundant, creating energy, green energy, unite the Americas, end and impact poverty, prosthetics to veterans. It just doesn't sound like you feel like you're moving, maybe, I mean, in a way, which we talked about in September, certainly with solar, you are helping toward a little bit toward the, creating a greener energy for people.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like it really is time, Ryan, for you to be making a solid plan, and even saying, I'm going to go back to college to business school. From what I'm hearing, it sounds more like you're hoping that lightning will strike while you're there and you'll have clarity on what it is that you want to do. Right. And so so what it sounds like is that it's time for you to really get kind of deliberate on this and be willing to, I mean, there's a part of in every single one of us that when we make a plan, it can be scary, because it feels like, okay, if I make this plan and I establish this target, how much pain will I feel if I don't hit it? Or how much pain will I feel if I do hit it, and for whatever reason, it's not what I hoped it would be? And so, I mean, there is a statistic that 96% of all people never achieve their goals. And most of the time it's because they don't even pursue them. They talk themselves out of it for one reason or another, or they never clearly identify what that goal is. So I would guess that you don't want to be part of that 96%.
Nope, definitely not.
Right. So, so in the spirit of adrenaline and adventure, and also with the appreciation and understanding that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, entrepreneurs, it is an adventure, and there are going to be great successes, and there are going to be times when you need to pick yourself up that can even feel like epic failures, right? But it's that adventure. It's saying, this is what I want to do, this is who I am, how I identify myself, and this is the target, this is the goal, this is what I'm going toward, and this is why I'm going toward it. And so if that is, and the the rewards are things that you've identified. I mean, that freedom and you controlling your potential, and discovering more and more of the unfamiliar and making it your familiar and really moving toward it. So it sounds like it's time for you to make a choice, and with the willingness to say, I only have so many moments on this planet, and there are things that I want to do here. Everything, I can't get it wrong, because everything's going to lead me in a direction of expanding and learning and growing and coming up with new ideas. So let's start the adventure and tangibly get out of wait and see mode into doing mode. Let's I mean, as there's a saying, iterate your way to awesome. Let's start something, make a decision that goes toward who I am and what I'm passionate about, what my skills are, what my experiences have been, what I consider my must-haves and my wouldn't it be nice ifs, and really start developing that and seeing how that twists and turns and takes me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you love the piloting, you love that.
Mm-hmm.
What is standing in your way from exploring things that would allow you to do some of that?
More research into the subject.
What does that mean?
Right now, the only thing that's stopping me from becoming a pilot is disposable income. But if I research more into it, I'm pretty sure I could find a way.
Okay.
And if I can't at least find a way, I'd at least have a clearer goal to be able to hit.
Yep. So absolutely. So it sounds like you need to make a commitment to do that.
Okay.
You definitely need to make a commitment to do that. And then while you're at it, while you're doing some research, but so it's research plus action, right? It's making that commitment that this is your new battlefield per se, right? I mean, I'm doing this. So I'm researching it so I can do this, right? So I can make this happen. And while you're researching, see where you could potentially, what organizations you might be able to use that skill that would align with your desire to help people, to help a not-for-profit, how you can get those things into place. Because there are people who make look at Underground Railroad, for example, the organization that fights sex trafficking. Those people are not volunteers. They make money doing really unlikely things going in and rescuing kids, right? Rescuing kids from horrific people. And that's not something that normally, like if you were to ask a child, what do you want to grow up and do? It's not, I want to go and rescue kids who've been kidnapped, right? So there any and every sort of type of job out there imaginable to match your passions, and or the potential to start an organization, a foundation, to learn, to understand. If that's so, it's really for you, it's in an ideal world, if you didn't have to consider how, if you could like put the concept of being realistic into a drawer for a while, what would you love to do? what would an ideal day or business look like for you?
That's what I've been trying to figure out, because I got some aspects of it, but I'm not. I gotta somehow add fun into that. 'Cause right now I'm just not having any fun, and that's also causing a whole lot of headaches.
So what feels like fun to you?
A lot of things. Traveling is the
Mhm,
main one. I haven't traveled in probably a year and a half. But that's my own fault.
mhm.
I just haven't been saving for it.
So
I actually just made a whole list. I was
you
like,
made a
man,
whole list?
yeah. I was like, what do I consider fun anymore?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, let's lock some things down.
Perfect. So the value of getting in a place like you're in right now is
Mm-hmm.
this is an assessment opportunity of
Right.
what you have been trying, and now how to get clarity from the things that you can assess are not working for you. Okay. And so in an ideal, what if you could, for example, either have a business or, I mean, what it sounds like right now, Ryan, is that a smart thing to do would be to temporarily work for someone else so you have reliable income.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that income source. So that's not a negative momentum for you, right? It's not a draining momentum. And be working toward something that you could potentially do on your own, either, again, a foundation, which again doesn't mean that you don't make money. It's the money might come from grants, but I mean, so whether it's a for-profit or a not-for-profit, there are many different ways that money can come in. And so it's a matter of either disciplining yourself to do some things that maybe aren't your favorite, like writing out grants, applying for grants or something like that in order to get the money in, or fundraising, or ultimately growing to the place where you can have someone else do those kind of things that don't come naturally to you. Or if it's a for-profit, is really structuring it so it has enough of things that you really enjoy to offset the things that are just kind of have to be done in a business. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yes.
So, I mean, imagine if you could have a job and or a business where you got to travel on a regular basis, and it also involved a certain amount of piloting, feeling like you were positively impacting people. How does that sound?
Sounds actually wonderful.
So as you're researching, the better question than what can I do is, how can I find job options that will help me in my goal toward ultimately either launching a business or working for a company or in an organization where I ultimately get to travel and in an ideal world get to pilot and impact people. So those should be some of the, so what organizations work that, and especially organizations, I mean, Ryan, you have so many unique skills that not everybody, I mean, just from your experience and your background, your love of adrenaline, for one thing, is that's a skill, and that not it, you can't teach someone that because of the fear factor. I mean, people can get better at it and they can get more desensitized to it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not the same as someone who has a passion for adventure. And not everybody likes to travel or is able to travel because of family scenario or whatever. So there are definitely needs for someone who has your unique skill.
Right.
So what it sounds like is that you should be, before committing yourself to going back to business school, which there are, there's several different perspectives on the value of that, is start researching where you could work. I mean, a couple of things. What could the options look like that would get you as close to flying machines and being able to travel, and in an ideal world, have some adrenaline and adventure attached to it, and helping people. I mean, so see how many of those boxes different options are that you can check off, and then see what they require to work there. It may not, because in an ideal world, if you could learn more about the field ultimately that you want to go into while being paid to do it. So you're being paid and you're learning, you're earning while you're learning in real life experiences. That's the ideal. And I'm not discouraging you from going back to school. I'm just saying, if you're just going back to school to kill time, to fill time, doesn't get you closer to the clarity that you're feeling like you're missing right now.
Right.
Right. So before you make that decision, even if someone else is going to pay for it, it would really, really be smart to say, wait a minute, what do I know? You've already written a list of things that you think are fun. Why make the assumption that you cannot find or cannot earn a living being around helicopters and airplanes and traveling, helping people, and getting an adrenaline rush? Right? Because they're the reason that I mentioned, Underground Railroad is because many of the people who work in that organization are not doing your typical, they're not doing things that are taught in business school. Right? And yet they are making a living doing this, and they're passionate about it. They love what they're doing, even though it's kind of, heart-wrenching at times. So there's a way to do the things that you are gifted with, but it does take the determination to find it. So the path that sounds like is you do need to do some research of how can you get around the things that will prepare you and open doors and give you network and connection in the direction that you're naturally called toward.
Okay.
Right? And so if you can find ways to, and look at this as a quest, a journey, a path. You may not walk into something where you're immediately making 100,000, 6 figures, right?
Mhm.
But if you're looking at this as a journey, I mean, you're certainly not going to make 6 figures when you're in school either. So look at this as this next time as how can I get into a position? How can I find an organization that's going to help me with my clarity, first of all, because I'm working actually in the field and I'm seeing whether I really do resonate with this, or I'm getting ideas of what's missing, what problems are not being solved that I might be able to build my own business around or do it better.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
absolutely.
Because you should be tapping into some things that you could do in your sleep. I mean, that you just naturally are gifted toward. And I mean, imagine if you didn't have to have a separation necessarily between things you do in your work and things that you enjoy doing.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's the goal.
That is the goal.
Right. Yeah. So if you can, so the hot on your radar should be researching any and every way that you could be moving toward that goal of being the pilot and or being around any sort of organization that has flight as one aspect of it, and or something where you would get to travel to the places that you want to travel to, and maybe even, I mean, dig deep and see what kind of organizations would involve some of that adrenaline that you love and be helping other people. Right? You may find some foundations that you could start working for, because some of them initially may not give you that total target financially temporarily. But again, if you're going to be in school, you know, that's your mindset is saying, okay, while I'm in school, whatever I make is okay. Right? So view this with that same sort of mindset, saying, this is I'm growing toward my goal. I'm here for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year to learn about the industry, to figure out maybe some problems that I can solve by starting my own business, to answer the question, do I want to start my own business or do I want to work for someone else? And then to spend the next few years establishing a network of people who can help me achieve this goal. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, so what are you extracting from this?
I'm extracting that I need to do a whole lot more research. I know the certain paths I want to go down. I just need to pick which one I need to achieve first. Because right now in my head, this job leads to passive income, which then leads to becoming a pilot, which then leads to being happy. Why can't I just be happy first and not worry about passive income right now? So I need to figure out which one I actually want to choose.
Absolutely. So, and I love what you said. Why can't I be happy first? And why is it? So just to poke a few holes in that mindset a little bit, why assume that it's an either or? Right? And why can't I start by putting the happiness as the first step instead of the last step? With the happiness first, because I've been trying it in the other order.
It's not working.
And it sucks. Yeah. So let me try reversing the order, putting the happiness and then saying, okay, now what else can I do to create the passive income? So what I want you to do is also, whether it's an audio book or a written version of this book, I want you to pick up Tony Robbins' book, Money Master the Game.
Okay.
It's a great book for clearly identifying the specific number, the dollar amount specifically that you need in order to have financial freedom. It will also give you some ideas about different sorts of accounts that you can invest in.
Okay.
And I am going to, I wonder if I'll send it to you. There's a website that I just heard about, Kevin O'Leary. Hold on. Yeah, Mr. Wonderful is a part owner, but it allows you to begin investing small amounts. Oh, I think this is it. Let's see if this is it. It's an app. Let me see if this is it. Yeah, it's called beanstox. So BEANSTOX, all one word, beanstox.
Okay.
It allows you to, even invest $100 and start, growing through ETFs and stuff, just growing your passive income, right? So you will hear in Money Master the Game, if you were to put a small amount of funds into beanstox or however you care to do it, but the compounding factor of that, and you were to do nothing else, will, especially from as young as you are, it will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So if you're, so that can be one strategy for beginning to accrue, but being happy means that you have energy. It means that you're inspired. But I also want to really, really alert you to one obstacle that virtually everyone bumps into that creates mind frick, is the temptation. Your mind, your subconscious wants to keep you in the known, even though what you want is all out in the unfamiliar right now. Because if it was in the familiar, you'd have it already, right? So it's in the unfamiliar. So your mind will play tricks with you saying, you are not ready yet. It's telling you don't take action. Well, not moving in that direction is still taking action. It'll just say, don't do that yet. You're not ready yet. So realize that that is a trap. That is a big bear trap.
Okay.
Okay. So when your mind, you will never feel ready. The way you get ready is by assessing. I mean, you know this from your military experience. You assess, what can I control? What do I know? And then I need to take action accordingly, and then I'll adjust. I trust myself that when I have new data, sometimes it may tell me to retreat and plan again, but sometimes it'll be this huge breakthrough that leads to my next victory. But if I just sit there, I'm going to get blown up. Right? So research for the purpose of taking action, and research for the purpose of exploration.
Okay.
With the agreement within yourself that you have total permission. If it ends up being a retreat, great, perfect. Now I've crossed off, one way not to make a light bulb. Perfect. I have more information than I had a moment ago. It's not a failure. It's, one
way
light
to not
bulb.
make a light bulb. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's all it is. And I'm going for that light bulb moment. So there are going to be a few duds along the way. Perfect. I won't try that again.
Okay.
Right. So this really is, you are on a quest to find how many ways you can incorporate as many of those 4 factors into your next mission. And that is piloting, being around aeronautics, because I mean, anything that you can learn in that space is going to take you closer. It might even help you rub shoulders with someone who will just open the path for you to becoming a pilot.
Right.
Right. So that pilot, traveling, adrenaline, and helping to make a positive impact. How many of those 4 can you find in different incarnations, and what do you want to explore first?
Okay.
And getting it all in, and really, I mean, total attack here, where you're allowing God, universe, or whatever you want to call it, fate, to open the door, because you've at least walked up to it. Right. And so, and you're going to see which door is the right one. So you're going to go out there, and you're really going to, if you research and something looks like it's going to, like, that's interesting, then, reach out and apply to it.
Okay.
Right. Reach out and apply, and really set that as a goal for yourself, and then assess whether going back to study something is really going to help you in your quest, and what do you need to study.
Okay. So that's like my North Star, if you will.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And this should always, even if you take Post-its and put those 4 things on it, and put it on your mirror that you see every morning and every night.
Okay.
And as you make decisions, is it taking me closer to those? Right. And that should be part of the determining factor for you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And are you willing to commit to yourself that if you feel nervous or uncomfortable about taking action, that you're going to pull the curtain back and just acknowledge that this is normal, this is part of the process?
Yes.
Because
I learned in sales.
Exactly. Plus, I mean, again, when you were in the military, I'm pretty sure that you weren't always feeling cozy, calm, and relaxed before you had to take a big step,
Yeah, no.
right?
There are no other options. That's the difference.
Well,
That's mindset.
that's total mindset. That's
Yeah.
total mindset, because not to put pressure, but realize also that you've been wired to understand that you've been wired to work well under pressure.
Mhm.
And quite honestly, as far as your happiness goes, the clock's ticking, right? The clock's ticking here. And you've seen now from doing, exploring this path, which appeared to be kind of a path of low resistance, that, do you remember what you were doing on February the 8th?
Probably selling cars.
Right. So completely unmemorable. Right. And so how many more days, months, years are you willing, of a finite amount of time that you were here on this planet, are you willing to risk being unmemorable and disappointing?
I'll see what you're saying.
Right? So no other options. I mean, to a certain extent, we're in that position every day as far as happiness is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So be willing to do the research as that first step toward taking action, as if your life depended on it, because it does. Your happy life depends on it. Doing the things that you want to do depend on it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what are you taking away from, what are your big takeaways from what we've talked about today?
The main one is the new North Star.
Mm-hmm.
Second one is I got to decide what is the fastest way I can get there.
Well, that can be a detour. That can be a detour. When we go looking for, I mean, you've probably heard people say this, more people waste time looking for the fastest way to get there.
I was just saying this job or another. That's what I need to figure out.
And yet our language is kind of a symptomatic of what our mindset is.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that that anxiousness, that feeling ready to be there,
Mm-hmm.
is kept in check for the quality of what you're looking for.
Okay.
Definitely take action, but we can slow ourselves down and give ourselves excuses to not take action because we say, well, that's not going to get us there fast enough. And meanwhile, we're doing nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that's a brain trap. So just watch out for that pothole. So new North Star, make a decision. What else?
I'll take a couple notes and just go into them now.
Yep. I'm going to hop in and say one thing that may not have been totally obvious, but that your concept of passive income may not look what you think right now it's going to look like.
Yeah. That might
There,
change.
there are other ways toward that passive income goal, which is a great goal. But there's not only one way toward it.
Right. I understand.
Yeah. So you're going to pick up Money Master the Game
Mm-hmm.
and explore beanstox, because you could begin allocating even a small amount of money from now going forward into that. Might be a path, a way to do it.
Okay. Okay.
And so you can feel like you're making progress toward your passive income goal, and then still look into the space of doing something more aligned to what it is that you really love, what you're passionate about, and what feel like authentic North Star goals for you.
Okay.
So, so what's your next move?
Next move is research ways to I want to say get hard details on how to become a pilot and hit all these markers. And if that is go full force into the solar thing for 5 years, so I can save the money to do that, or keep this, part-time job and pay for it that way.
Or find
Grants.
Well, grants could be something, or find companies. Another path is, as you're researching,
Mm-hmm.
reach out to those companies
Oh
and
yeah, talk to
find
people.
out
Yeah.
if you can give them a resume, craft your resume so that it, and at some point, if you decide to do this, and you want to set up another session, we can work on crafting your resume so that it speaks to that space. But what I would be strongly doing in play is I would be researching for the purpose of any company or organization that's going to hit any of those markers, especially if they hit multiple markers. I would be reaching out to them and saying how much your mission aligns with what they're doing. How do I get to work with you guys? How can I work with you guys? What would it take? Not
Okay.
Are you hiring even, but how can I be considered to work with you guys? And here are my skills. Because why not if you're going to spend 5 years, why not spend it getting hands-on experience in the space that you ultimately want to move into?
Mm-hmm.
And getting all those connections.
Okay.
Right. And finding out if it's going to be as rewarding as you anticipate it being. Right. One of my targets would be potentially to be finding a company, several company options that would hit one or more of those markers that I could move into immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So do you feel like this has been helpful?
Extremely.
Great. Wonderful. Well, keep me posted, because you have such unique skills and talents, and therefore potential. What I hear is that you're meant for something bigger than what you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
right? And that it's totally, you're just looking, you've been looking for it, I'm going to say, in the quote unquote wrong place, even though there are no wrong places. This is guiding you toward what your life journey is really intended to be about.
Okay.
Right? So I would absolutely start seeing what companies you can work with over the next few years that can hit some of these markers, and find out how you get into them. I would be really persistent of getting into those spaces sooner rather than later.
Okay.
And and also at the same time, there may be groups of, you know, either on LinkedIn or Facebook that are geared around piloting. And if you can get to know people, there may be a program, there may be a grant, there may be an organization that's willing to pay you to train you to be a pilot that you just may not know about.
Okay.
So if you make your desire known in those groups, there may be people who would mentor you along the way.
Yeah, I think there was a veteran pilot thing going on, but I think they canceled it. But I'll look into it again.
Absolutely look into it. And it wouldn't necessarily have to be veterans. I mean, you're going to find, you know, you're going to definitely find groups.
Right.
Right. So basically make this non-negotiable, right? This is your mission and this is non-negotiable, right?
Okay.
All right. Great. Well, like I said, reach out to me if I can be of any additional service to you at any point. And I'm glad this was helpful, because you clearly have something big to do with your life.
Knocking me back in alignment. Yeah, for sure.
Good. I love it. All right. Well, it was great seeing you on the schedule, even if I don't see you on Zoom.
Yeah. I'll try to keep in more contact. I'm pretty bad at keeping in contact with people.
That's okay. That's okay. Timing's always perfect. So, so I look forward to hearing the next big step.
Okay, Meredith.
All right. Thank you,
Appreciate it so
Ryan.
much. Yeah, thank you.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.